St. Louis has a once-in-a-lifetime chance to invest in the city's future with record funding from the federal government and RAM settlement money. Those funds could go a long way to replace systems strained by an eroding tax base as the city continues to bleed population.
So where can cities put these funds to guarantee the best return on the investment? Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, went to New Orleans searching for solutions.
A thriving city needs one thing more than any other: people. Sure, that much may be obvious, but what happens when they leave? We've seen it in St. Louis, a slow, steady decline over decades. But no city has seen a more mass exodus, more drastic than New Orleans, that city on the Gulf that became the front lines of the climate crisis when aging infrastructure gave way to a decades-defining catastrophe.
Well, we lost 200,000 people in a day. So it's a biblical event.
You probably remember where you were when you saw these images on your screen in 2005.
It's really unheard of in American history.
Hurricane Katrina buried one of the nation's most adored cities underwater. Mike Perlstein won 2 Pulitzer Prizes covering a storm he had to survive himself.
On day 7, I waded into my house, water up to my chest, and then when I finally got a chance to take a break, I canoed into my house.
At first glance, many shocked onlookers attributed the devastation to the sheer force of nature. But upon closer inspection,
it's really a man-made disaster, the failure of the federal levees.
Perlstein, now at our sister station WWL, found cracks in the levees and canals, aging infrastructure ignored for far too long.
Turns out it was shoddy, it was not maintained. The engineering design in many instances was substandard. All got exposed, unfortunately, all at once with this major disaster.
It really had gone through a phase of neglect.
We met Ghassan Korban at the Sewerage and Water Board, where he inherited the infrastructure battered by Katrina and another problem exacerbated by it.
Shrinking population, but the system does not shrink because we're still serving all extremities of the city.
What happens when problems grow bigger and fewer people stick around to pay for them?
Well, that's where there are some interesting parallels between New Orleans and St. Louis, is that at the time Katrina hit New Orleans, we were undergoing that slow erosion of tax base, of infrastructure. We were losing population.
In that case, Congress came rushing to rescue New Orleans with billions of dollars to build the city back up. But here,
St. Louis did not have a parallel single incident or a collapse of a whole industry or a disaster to rally the country.
New Orleans may be more of a struggling city in a swamp than a shining city on the hill. But often, that's where solutions are born, under immense pressure, just as a city reaches its breaking point.
Water main breaks, just leaky joints, leaky hydrants, you name it.
Water main pipes twist for 1,600 miles under the streets of New Orleans.
We have the most active drainage system in the country.
More than half those pipes are 80 years old. Nearly 1 in 3 were installed a century ago.
They're fragile, they have the tendency to break down.
Water main breaks led to a loss of pressure and the hassles and health risks that can accompany them. When the list of deferred maintenance and repairs grew too long to keep up with, they switched their thinking.
Replace, don't repair. Think 50 years, not 5 years. No matter how much you maintain, an old machine is still an old machine.
Eventually, recurring problems started to disappear. Korban engineered the construction of 2 massive backup water towers, redundancies ready to send instant pressure into the pipelines.
Between the new pumps and those 2 water hammers, we have virtually eliminated the citywide boil water advisories.
With fewer emergencies erupting, their crews could focus on installing miles of this high-density polyurethane inside the older, brittle pipes.
You don't have to start big, but you have to be very methodical and intentional about funding infrastructure.
He found investing now in new infrastructure to stabilize water pressure in old pipes alleviates financial pressure in future budgets.
We are 100% better long-term, economically, reliably, from a resiliency perspective.
Mark Maxwell, 5 on your side.
And losing people puts a massive drain on resources that pay police, too. Next week, Mark looks at how population loss pressured New Orleans to get creative on how to lighten the load for New Orleans police.